Reddit. You know, I've never been a Boy Scout, but I do like making fires. And what's the first step to making a fire? Tinder. So how about we check out some Tinder profiles and see what's up over there? Also, surprise microphone. Match last week, great convo, drove 40 minutes to meet for dinner, and then got ghosted. Top 1% poster. Okay, so they've got a lot of Tinder chronicles, it seems. So this person dropped a Google Maps link, and then this other person says, sounds good, thank you, hun. Very southern. I'm trying to think of what context somebody says hun like that. I know it doesn't matter, but I care. So I'm just gonna picture this as Paula Deen. You know, she's back on the apps. Paula Deen, image of Paula Deen here. Oh, real story. I went to her restaurant in Savannah, Georgia for my 19th birthday, and I left keeling over in pain. So much pain. First of all, the food was amazing. I think that's the problem. The food was so good. I was just gobbling it down. I don't know if I have a gallbladder problem or something, but when I eat stuff with too much fat, like Wagyu beef, for example, or something with a lot of butter, it hurts. It physically hurts. So you, Paula Deen. Leaving now. I'll see you soon. At 17:54, which is crazy. Why do you use military time unless you're in the military? Leaving now, I'll see you soon. At 17:54, whatever that means. And then it was red, so this person has their read receipts on. Just got here, I had to park in the back at 18:35, so that's in human people time, that's 6:35, so it's like a dinner date. 20 minutes go by. Are you okay? No response. My guess is there were some phone calls. My guess is this person called and was like, hey, I'm just waiting out here, just, hoping to see you, blah, blah, blah. And then no response, getting ghosted, getting ditched. Are you okay? Question mark. And you drove 40 minutes to meet for dinner, and then you got ghosted. Damn. What's that song from Ghost? Oh, my love, my darling. She even hit you with the hun. Diabolical. Okay, good. I'm glad I wasn't the only person paying attention to that, because that's Paula Deen working her magic. Can I say something else? They had butter-flavored chapstick. They had chapstick butter-flavored. I went into Paula Deen's restaurant with great cholesterol, and I left in a wheelchair. Anyway, wow, she hearted it too. Leading on our boy. You are leading him on with fake affection, with hearts, etc. Unless she's dead, she needs to grow the F up. Thank you. I've always found top comments and posts like these are the ones that ask the guy to move on without any criticism of the a-hole. People who do this need to be called out and shamed a lot more. Ghosting is a weird phenomenon, I feel like, because when you're early in the talking stages and you realize you don't jive with the other person, I imagine ghosting is less consequential. But if you've made plans, you're going to the dinner, you set aside money, you're wearing your cologne, you got showered, you got dressed up, blah, 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 and you're literally like, yeah, I'll see you there in 20 minutes. What kind of shit is that? That's just lying. You're just lying to somebody. Our age group, the neo internet group, people who really live on the internet, we got to figure out how to talk through conflict in a way that's not absolutist, right? In a way that's not like demonizing the other person for coming forward with real feelings. I think real concerns like, you know what? I realize I think I'm going to have to chicken out tonight. I'm so sorry. Love talking with you. Turns out, I don't think I'm ready for this, or it turns out, I don't think we're as far along as I'd like to be, or whatever. I have a fear of meeting up. I don't know. Whatever it is, people need to be able to have these kind of critical conversations without, because there's a reason why this person is ghosting. You know what I mean? I hate to justify, and I'm not justifying this person's behavior. Don't get me wrong. This is wrong. Saying, I'm going to meet you there in 20 minutes, and then not showing up at all, that's wrong. That is a problem. That's obviously a problem. But what is going on in their minds? They're getting overwhelmed at the thought of a first date with somebody. Maybe they haven't dated in a while. Or, worst case scenario, they texted their ex, and they're literally hooking up with their ex right now. You know what I'm talking about? So maybe if that's happening, they're just evil, and but if it's coming from a place of anxiety, or it's coming from a place of self-doubt or criticism, that is something that person needs to get through. But we as a people, listen to me. Listen, this is my pledge. This is my not pledge. Plea. This is my plea. We as a people need to get better at having difficult conversations with each other without alienating or villainizing the other person. That's what I think. I don't know. People need to get better at communicating their genuine feelings, because this is when you ghost somebody, it's tough. And I've done that. I've ghosted somebody, but I've never ghosted them when we planned on meeting somewhere. That's never happened. For me, it was because the person I was talking to was a bit overly communicative. What I mean by that is they would send me a bunch of messages every day, and if I didn't respond, they would take that personally. And so to me, that was a complete turnoff. And I was like, oh, I don't owe this person my time at all, because we never met. That was awkward. This happened to me back in 2017. How do you remember the year? People who remember the specific years to things, blow my mind. She was an hour away and I drove an hour to meet her. We were supposed to go to dinner and then go to a social function. She was my date for the function. I got ghosted after driving an hour, ate dinner by myself, and showed up to the function with no date. I'll never forget that feeling. That's why he remembers the year. I wish I could say things got better, but dating got worse since then. So many painful dating experiences and loneliness. I've been working on healing from all the pain and rejection and damage to self-esteem, though. Just know you're not alone, Up. That sucks, man. I think also, like, the farther you go to meet somebody, like if you're driving a full hour, that gives them a whole hour to freak themselves out and you a full hour to like freak yourself out. Again, like it's this rampant thing. There's so much buildup in a long drive somewhere. I will always freak out if I know a girl is coming to my house. Always. I will freak out. And it feels like this. I literally will be pacing around my house going, like, oh God. And I'll clean. When I'm anxious and somebody's coming over, I clean just to move, just to get energy out of my bloodstream or whatever, dude. I'll have music on, lo-fi hip hop, especially if it's nighttime. Oh, if it is nighttime and you are coming over to hang out with me, I'm freaking out. Why? Because there's a bunch of expectations. You know what I think? I think some of that expectation-y thing, I think if we just upfront be like, hey, I'm just going to let you know, on first dates, I don't kiss or anything more. I just literally want to get to know you. I want us to be able to have fun. I want us to be able to eat and drink and be merry and all that stuff. I don't want to do anything physical on the first date. Maybe hug at the end, whatever. And I think if you do that, if you establish those things at the beginning, I think that removes a lot of that, oh God, what do we do next? Because that freaks me out, thinking to myself, like, am I supposed to invite her back to my house? Like, what happens after this? If you just get rid of that, you're like, hey, let's meet for an hour. On first dates, I don't do anything physical if that's okay. I just want to get to know you as a person. I want to have fun. I want to have a fun, light conversation, blah, blah, blah at the end. That's sick, dude. That is so cool. You know what it would be? It would be a little paragraph that I had ready in my notes app, and I would copy it and paste it. Man, I'm spitting strat. I am spitting strategy. Women watching this, would that work? Would that alleviate your anxiety a little bit? If a guy messages you and he's like, hey, I don't want to do anything physical at first date. I just want to get to know you. Like, we'll just chat at the end. Doesn't that remove all the stress, all the pressure? It does for me. You know what my anxiety comes from? What if we eat something that upsets my tummy and she wants to go back to my place and I can't do anything? And then I have to explain that my tummy hurts. Like, I'm moving on because I'm really diving into this so much, but I like that. I like what I just came up with. I'm laughing so hard. What the F? This person says, hey, you snuggle cats and dogs as a side gig? I do. I pet sit through the Rover app. That's cool. That's a funny little thing to say, right? You snuggle cats and dogs? Well, conveniently, I must inform you that I got that dog in me. Wow! I think this is funny. I think it's funny. I think it's worth... That's a funny flirtation that's not, like, gross. I don't think. Like, everybody says something like that to somebody. I got that dog. Like, that's a big phrase going around right now. I think that's so funny. Would. Okay, good. It works. It works. That's great. Your entire profile is made up of two things. Not having any luck with Tinder and pictures of your cat. Maybe some introspection is in order. Man, you know it's bad on Reddit when they go through your profile. And when they just start pointing out things about you as a person. Who needs enemies when you got friends like that? Don't make me evaluate my decision making. How dare? Was not expecting that. This guy says, I'm going to be straight with you. I've got a date tonight with the girl I've been talking to. If all goes well, I might be deleting my apps. If it doesn't, I'll likely come back. Great. Up front, somebody who's saying, hey, just so you know, I have a thing out there. I want to give it a shot. Let's see. This person says, I have the worst luck in dating. I respect you for telling me. Have a good time. I know the feeling. I've been rejected and stood up a lot already. Okay, so they're talking, they're chatting, they're bantering. For me, it's mostly been people ghosting me, so I'm glad that at least this time it didn't result in that. Okay, we got a theme of ghosting. I've got a bit more dignity than that. So far, so good. Did it go well? It did. Want to make a final effort to win me over? I don't like that. Not a big fan of that. That was stupid. This guy went on one date and suddenly he thinks he's the Bachelor. Dumb thing to say. Because now you're actively playing two girls at the same time versus before you were going, hey, I'm gonna try this. We'll see what happens. But now you're like actively double dipping, and that just makes you look really stupid. Want to make a final effort to win me over? Because I'm probably gonna delete my dating apps otherwise, not gonna lie. I think if I have to make a final effort in this scenario, it's probably not meant to be, but I wish you and her a lifetime of happiness, which you and her a lifetime of happiness is very like dramatic and very like, whatever. I think this is like a pleasant go yourself, to be honest. I think you're like, yeah, you and her can like ride off into the sunset, dude. And I think that's because he said this really stupid thing. It was like self-aggrandizing statement. Cool, good response. She's basically politely-ish declining, and this guy responds and he says, shame. You'd have been fun to pin down and breed. Goodbye, doll. I'm gonna go for a little walk now. Is there just a horn goblin buried deep within the bones of every man? Just a righteous little gremlin, just a little goblin, thorned up, just ready, locked and loaded in the catapult or trebuchet to be thrown at the nearest woman. I think so. I think the answer is yes. And I'm not excluded from that. I am one of these guys. Not like that. Not like this. Not like this. I'm just saying all of us got a little monster in us. You know what I'm saying? That'll come out. This was a misfire. And what a crazy thing to say. That dude never going to delete dating apps anytime soon. He might pause for a minute, but that's it. It does seem like he's trying to double dip. Because like, for example, what if, I wonder if he's kind of betting on this recipient to be like, wait, no. That sounds like a good time. That's what you want. That's clearly what you want, right? That is the only result that you want, is you want this woman to go, oh, wow, that sounds hot. Or why didn't you say that earlier? Your intentions, unfortunately, as sneaky and clever as you think you are, your intentions are, generally speaking, very obvious all the time. And so if you don't have good intentions, it's gonna read. Your intentions matter. Where you're coming from matters. And this guy, he ain't really hiding it. That guy didn't have a date. He pretended to be in demand, then came back to his actual persona to see if he could make it work because he has an alternative which makes him feel coveted. Yeah, surprised how many believe the other girl exists. Really? No, I don't know. I think there might be another girl. If this is a strategy, though, why you gotta be a sociopath? Why you gotta do a trick like that, man? What a beautiful message. Of course I'll text you back. I also think people should be dating in the same league. Like my last girlfriend was around an 8 or 8.5. I'm going to read this again and try not to throw up in my mouth a little bit. I also think people should be dating in the same league. Like my last girlfriend was around 8 to 8.5. I consider myself around 6 to 6.5. I had no business being with her. She was out of my league. You probably fall around the 5 to 5.5 range, which is around average, which there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Not everyone can be an 8, 9, or 10. What podcast did this guy listen to? Isn't there a podcast called like the Whatever podcast where they just interview these women and they keep being like, are you a 10? Why do you think you're a 10? You're not a 10. You're a blah, blah, blah. Like all this thinking, this is so 16-year-old boy, very dumb thinking that is like a poison in people's minds. What a crazy, crazy thing to say. Ugh, God, I am so lucky I'm in a relationship. This is nuts. I mean, actually, no. If I weren't in a relationship and this is my competition, I'd be just fine. Also, you're negging, right? You're trying to give her something to where she has to qualify herself for you, and it's like, so again, this intention is like, what is that? What do you want the response to be? You want to be like, no, I'm not. I'm a 10. I'm a 6. I'm a 7. I'm an 8. Oh yeah, then prove it. Okay, boy, you know what I'm saying? What do you think is happening? I'm so mad at this person. What a stupid guy. I get it in terms of you're trying to figure it out. Somebody somewhere on some podcast told you that this is a smart way to approach somebody who has maybe an IQ of 70. This would work on somebody with an IQ of 70. You know what I'm saying? And is that the person you want to be with? That's the person you want to be the mother of your children with? That's who you want to marry, walk down the aisle with? Somebody who's cool with you telling them that they're a 5 and that they're a 6? Or 6.5? There's already like an imbalance there. I am so mad. I got to get off this subreddit. Oh my God. I'm going to read the comments but I'm going to read them grumpily. So to summarize, he's doing you a favor by offering date down and slum it with you. This is your big break. Your chance to get someone a whole level hotter than you. The real question is, will you be able to live with the constant anxiety and fear that he'll eventually find the actual 6 to 6.5 he deserves? That's terrific. That's better than anything. That is better than anything I could have said. That's so good. This is like borderline, like, problem. You know what I mean? There's no way you send these kinds of things to another human being thinking that they're going to have a reasonable response to the, you know, like a complimentary response. This is so not just gross. It's not even gross. It's just like, this is the equivalent of, it's just like watching a car accident. Like a car is like slowly driving into a tree, and the driver is looking at you with a thumbs up, and he pulls back in reverse, and then he heads into the tree again, and he just backs up a little bit more, and then he goes straight into the tree again, and he's looking at you, and he's doing this. That's what that is. It's not gross. It is gross, but it's also like, and then he's going, you want to hop in? The f*** is this? Sir, who told you that this was a good idea? This is the worst idea you've ever had, aside from, you know, choosing to wake up this morning. God, you poor sack of shit. You know, like, there's so many guys out there. I get, again, when I was in high school, when I was like 15, 16, people who know me in real life know that I was a bit of like a, you know, I would talk not like this, but kind of like this, you know, because I read pickup artist books and I wanted to be like, because look, I grew up with 2 older sisters and an older brother who's gay, and that's great. It's just, I didn't have anybody to like really teach me how to like pick up girls, you know, like not really. And I know that sounds whatever now, but I didn't have any mentorship in the romance thing, right? I didn't really have that. And so I had to find it somewhere. And guess what? I Googled how to get a girlfriend, how to make girls interested in you, how to be attractive to women. And there's a lot of horrible advice out there. And this guy clearly is like on the deep end of that, to where he thinks that he's doing something. Like he's puppeteering the strings of like this unsuspecting woman. Like it's great. It's crazy. And it's stuff that you don't want to be involved with. Yo, if you're watching this, you're a guy and you feel like you're in those shoes. The best thing you can do is work on yourself and work on being confident in yourself. Whatever that means for you, work on being confident for yourself. Because when you start pulling shit like this, you become a caricature of a vessel of a person. You're not a person. This is insane. This is so, what a baloney belief system this person has. I bet he has ladies just clawing at his door to get out. He's got them locked in his basement. What a dummy, dude. Talking about his ex using a 0 to 10 attractiveness scale on anyone and negging. 3 strikes, you're out, bro. I don't know, man. There are so many dummies out there. Huh? My most controversial opinion is, as long as you are not producing children, there is nothing objectively wrong with incest. Excuse me, I'm going to go on a walk real quick. Okay, my headphones held me back. What? Let's think about it. Everything is wrong with that. I don't need to, I feel, you know, I want to respond to this at a surface level, but I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to read the comments. Very odd that you're holding a bottle. Why are you holding a bottle of ranch? Also, what does that mean about you? What led you to that opinion? Was there a conversation in a science class somewhere, or like an ethics class, or is this what philosophy book put that in your mind? I need to read the comments because I have too many thoughts floating around in my head right now. Respect to her for having an actual controversial opinion. Yeah, I guess that is, you know, hats off to you. Talking out of my ass for a second. Aren't there genes or something in your head where like you can detect that this person's in your DNA? Like if you were to kiss your, you know, sibling, which the reason why we kiss at all, right, is to kind of like do a little DNA check or something. And if you feel like something smells off or tastes off or whatever, it's like, this is a no-go. Right? Isn't that the evolutionary purpose behind kissing, is kind of doing like background processing? Or am I way off? I could be totally off. But I feel like if you're siblings, something in your brain is going to go, this is bad! This is wrong! Right? Won't your body revolt against you? I guess not. Otherwise, you know, Game of Thrones and some other shows that are recent that I don't want to spoil would be out of business. Personally, I'm more concerned with who's going to get a beating with a bottle of ranch dressing. Okay, so a lot of fellas in here don't really care. Has anyone seen someone use the most controversial opinion prompt in a way that was a net benefit to their profile? I would swipe right, TBH, because at least she's interesting. Okay, a lot of guys don't care. Hey sis would be a nice opening line. Oh my God. So you don't want kids, right? right? It is a strong opening line. Okay. I'm really curious about this, where this came from, what in her past got her to this point to broadcasting that out to everybody. It is definitely a controversial opinion. My sister is smoking hot. I'd totally be down. We're going to move past this story. Holy God, there's a lot of weird stuff in the comments here. Okay. Received this gem yesterday. Hey, so thanks for last night. These dates with you have been really nice. You're a pretty smart and fun lady. I just wanted to ask you about something, and I wanted to be honest to you about it. Honest with you, whatever. When do you think we're going to be intimate? Not a horrible question, depending on how many dates. It says these dates, so there have been multiple. If the follow-up is like, what kind of protection do you prefer? Blah, blah, blah. Is there anything I can do to make it a good experience? Like, maybe, but that gets rid of all spontaneity. Let's keep going. Intimacy is very important to me, and before getting into a relationship with someone, just want to consider all things 360. Like a Xbox? To be honest, you're not usually my body type. Why are guys so dumb now? Why are guys so dumb now? Why do you be so dumb? Why do you be so dumb? You're being so dumb. To be honest, you're not usually my body type, and I would like to experience that first so I can decide. Hello. I don't get intimate with someone until I have full trust and deep connection with them. Reading your message and thinking about what you said tonight, I don't think our values align, and I would like to end this here. All the best. And his response, bitch. Hey, shh. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to just let loose and dance with me. Why are guys so dumb now? Why are guys so dumb now? Hey, backwards solo.